Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at the Through the Eyes of a Kerbal mod, which is currently being worked on by forum user Sir, and is actually a continuation of a mod which was abandoned a while back by user Chronothan. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a first-person mode for the game, and that makes me so wonderfully happy. Now, we actually did have a look at a first-person EVA mod quite some time ago, and that mod wasn't abandoned, but it was rolled in to another mod, and then subsequently has been having some issues since that time, and so for a while there hasn't been a reliable first-person mod for this game, and so I was quite happy to see this one kicking about on the forums recently, as I do enjoy, even though I'm a horrible pilot, I do enjoy the occasional extra challenge of the first-person view. And, well, so since there's no parts to look at here, we're just going to be looking at a first-person mechanic. I've got Jebediah set up on the launch pad, and let's just go and fly with him and show you how all this works, and it is pretty fun. Now, we're of course starting here in a standard third-person mode, and if you do want to go to first-person, all you simply have to do is hit the C key. Now, once again, that is a C, and if I hit that, bam! We are now looking through the eyes of Jebediah. That's kind of a odd thing to think about. But yes, we are now inside of Jebediah's skull, and I love it. Now, we can, of course, in first-person mode, turn around, we can walk, etc., and even if we hold down right-click, we can look around inside the helmet while we are stationary and see all the different edges. Now, you may notice a first new little mechanic added in by this mod, and that are those green ticks that you have along the outside of the screen. On the left, right, and bottom, and basically what these are doing is showing you how far off from center camera you are. Now, while you're wandering around on the surface of a planet, it's frankly useless because, well, you can just look at the horizon and do the same thing, but it actually does come into some form of use when you're in space on a jetpack, as it can be quite easy to get yourself a little bit disoriented in the vastness of space, and so seeing this you go, oh yes, I need to look up this way to reorient myself. So it is quite useful in that regard, but if it does annoy you and you don't care for it, you can actually turn it off through the config file that comes with the mod, but we'll talk more about that config file in a moment. For now, let us actually move around in first-person mode. Now, if I turn left and right with our keys, you can see that we are kind of getting obstructed by the view of the helmet for a little bit, and I actually quite like that because it does feel a little bit immersive. But here is where I run into my first issue with this mod, but also an issue that's very easily remedied by you, and that is, well, moving forward. Now, we were originally facing, oh god, I don't remember which way we were facing, but I know we weren't facing in this direction. And now if I try to move forward, we're looking at our spacecraft. That's because, for some reason, the camera doesn't like resetting itself to your current position when you turn. I don't know why. I hope it'll get fixed in the future, because there actually used to be a couple other orientation problems with the camera in the last version, but just a few days ago this was updated and fixed a lot of them, but this one's still in there. But how you remedy this is you right-click. Just briefly, just a quick little right-click, and now we're facing that direction and we can move forward. So if I turn to the right click, now I can go in that direction and move forward, etc, etc, etc. So after maybe a good 30 seconds to a minute of just remembering, oh yeah, click, you're good to go. Now, you may notice that the camera does kind of get knocked around inside the helmet a bit, which again is more of an issue here on a planet. When you're in space with your jetpack, it is very, very fluid movement, but on a planet, yeah, I think the camera's getting knocked about by like a collider inside the helmet or something, so things do get a little bit knocked back and forth, but in space it's a lovely smooth ride, and when on a planet it's a perfectly serviceable view, so you can still get things done. And that is what I love about this first-person view, because even when in this helmet, we can interact with stuff. So if there was a parachute that needed repacking or a part that needed fixing, we could right-click on it and do it. For instance, we can actually go and interact with the ladder here. Hit F, And let's actually climb into our little lander here. And once we're up at the top, I went overboard. There we are. We just need to hit B. And now I'm going to take my hands off the keyboard. And notice that it just went into first-person mode in the internal view. And that is because another one of those settings in the config file. Now we're going to talk about that config file for a moment. So in the settings for this, which unfortunately you do have to go into Notepad to edit in a config file in the mod folder, but you have 4 key options and a couple of key bindings. So the key for options and features is forced EVA, first person mode, so no matter what, you would always be in first person mode when on EVA. The second option is, do you want to turn on or off those little green markers for showing your orientation? The third option is forced first-person IVA. Now, as you noticed when I did get into the spacecraft, it did take a second for it to register that, but now I'm stuck in first-person IVA. I cannot hit C to change the camera back out to third person. In fact, now that I'm in forced first person, if I hit the C key, it takes me back out into the world. And that is how you do actually get out of the first-person IVA if you are stuck in there. Since you can't go outside of the ship and then click on the portrait, you just use the C key instead, and instead of changing the camera view, it pops your Kerbal out. Quite useful, but let's actually board back momentarily. Now, the next option, and the last of the 4 key options, is when you are in any mode, do you want to have access to the map? And that is sort of considered a hardcore option. Do you want the map or not? I have actually selected for the map not to be turned on, and I am currently, even though I know you guys can't see, I am currently hitting M and nothing is happening. I cannot access my map, and that's considered a hardcore option. So I do love that, and you can mix and match these things. For instance, the EVA mode, I do not have locked to first person. I can switch between third person and first person. In the EVA, though, I'm stuck in just first person. I cannot go into third. And you may be wondering, okay, well, what about some other things like seeing my science instruments? Well, you're going to have to set all your scientific instruments to different hotkeys to turn them on, or use one of the different science mods, but you can access your already saved ones by hitting \, and that will bring up this report to show you all of your currently saved science. So I've done a crew report earlier, and you can just keep that and then go on your way. And when you want to exit once again, you just need to hit C, and there you go. You are popped right out and good to go. And I love that you can mix and match those different options. So if you want to be truly hardcore and make this a very, very difficult game for yourself, you can make it so that you are constantly in first-person mode, whether it's in EVA or IVA, and you can even turn on or off the ability to look at your own freaking map. And that's pretty wonderful. And that's pretty much it too about this mod. That is all the different options. Now the config file is a little bit finicky. One thing that I've noticed, it comes packed in a folder, so it's a plugin folder, and then a through the eyes folder, and then that's where the config file lives, but it doesn't actually seem to work in there. If I move it straight into the plugin folder, it works like a charm. Don't know why. Maybe it's just something weird on my install, but something to keep in mind just in case the config doesn't work for you. But yes, I would definitely say if you are interested in a first-person experience to check out this mod, especially if you are into a bit more hardcore mode for the game, you can then fly all of your missions purely from a first-person view, and that is pretty wonderful. So do go check it out. Link is in the description as always. And of course, I do hope you've enjoyed this video today and that you do come back for the next, when hopefully we will be looking at yet another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.